Who are these people?
All right. Welcome to the show, Angel in the Afternoon. My name is Angel Rivera, and I hope everybody had a great week. And we got a fun filled show for everybody today. And let's see. Whoops. Okay. Well, hope everybody have a great week. And Pro Wrestling Talk is tomorrow, 8 o'clock, is our normal time as usual. And I got a bunch of things to go through tonight. So yeah, let's see here. We got a lot of crap here. So let's get started because I have very limited amount of time to do this. No, not that. There we go. So yeah, let me just bear with me 1 second. I'm just about to start here. Just trying to find get all my crap together so I don't. All right, so let's just start up here because I do not have the time nor the patience. So, as everybody knows, Joe Biden gave a speech last night. He spent an hour with the media, and it didn't go very well. It didn't go well at all. So, let's start with this one. No, actually, no. Let's start with this one because this one's first. Let's go here. Let's do that. Let's do that. Oops. Yeah, that's not. Let's do that. There we go. Because I might not be with you guys really long because I do have other things to do. So it's not going to be my usual show this week. So this is the first video out of many that are biting gaffes. Excuse me. So let's watch this.
Determination. Ladies, and now I want to hand over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
President Putin.
President Putin. We're going to beat President Putin. And now...
President Putin. So that's the first one out of many. Out of many gaffes tonight. Or not tonight, but last night. Just many gaffes. It's quite embarrassing. And let's see here. Where's the next one? I mean, I have so many bookmarks and they're all over the place that I could barely find what I'm looking for. Where are we? Here we go. I already did that one. This is Joe Biden's advisors, because when he said, and let's see here, when he said Vice President Trump, because Joe Biden, I'm gonna show you that clip a little later, said Vice President Trump. So let's watch this.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president.
Yep.
So let's start there.
So here's another gaffe.
The fact is that the consideration is...
Oops, sorry about that. See, that's the reaction of the secretary and most of Biden's cabinet members there. So yeah, just quite humiliating. And my God, it's crazy. I mean, my God, people are just unbelievable. Yeah, it's unbelievable how. Yep. So let's go to the next one. Hey, Miss Witchy, thank you for joining me by myself. All right, so let's see. All right, so this one's done. I gotta organize myself better. This one's done. Uh, there's another gaff. There were plenty last night. Just plenty. Whoops. Here we go. I'm going to put Japan and Korea together. So let's watch this.
Are you open to taking another physical or test before the election? Governor Whitmer of Michigan, for instance, said it wouldn't hurt to take a test.
Well, look, two things. One, I've taken 3 significant and intense neurological exams by a neurologist. In each case, as recently as February. And they say I'm in good shape, okay? Although I do have a little problem with my left foot because it's not as sensitive because I broke my foot and didn't wear the boot. But I'm good. I'm tested every single day for my neurological capacity to do decisions I make every day. You talk to my staff, all of you talk to my staff. Sometimes my staff talks a lot. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think you have them telling you that all the major ideas we've undertaken haven't been in part initiated by me. I remember when the staff, and I said, I'm going to go to South Korea, we're going to get the chip. What are you doing? I'm going to get Japan and Korea back together again after essentially having hostilities toward one another since the end of World War II.
So, yeah, you're gonna put Japan and Korea back together. I don't know how he's gonna pull that off, but apparently he is. So let's stop sharing this for now because I got plenty of things to talk about here. So, no, I already did that one. All right, that one's a little later. Here we go. So Joe Biden was asked a question towards the end of the press conference. He said, "You referred to VP Harris as VP Trump. Right now, Trump is using that to mock you. How do you combat that criticism from tonight?" Biden says, "Listen to him." So, yeah.
Respectfully, earlier you misspoke in your opening answer. You referred to Vice President Harris as Vice President Trump. Right now, Donald Trump is using that to mock your age and your memory. How do you combat that criticism from tonight?
Listen to him.
Yeah.
This concludes tonight's press conference. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everyone.
Yep. So he said, "Listen to him. I'll take your word for it." It's like, listen to him. So, yeah, Joe Biden is not well. Everybody knows that, and everybody could see it. Everyone can see it. So, yeah, I already did this one. Even a lot of Democrats are starting to see it. And, there's an interesting civil war within the party to see what happened. All right, so let's take a look at this one. I'm following the advice of my commander-in-chief. Mine. Like it's, like he's the vice president still.
My commander-in-chief, the chief of staff of the military, as well as the Secretary of Defense and our intelligence people.
Yep. So he's following the advice of his commander-in-chief, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see. Oops. Let's get rid of this for now, because I don't want to accidentally share some or see some copyrighted material I have here. So let's get rid of that. Do I have any more here that I need to see? Let's see. So this one is another gaffe. I mean, we got many gaffes tonight. Hope everybody is I hope everybody already liked and subscribed. Very important to do that. And let's see, make sure I'm sharing my screen. Yep. Joe Biden says he's not willing to talk to Putin, but he's also willing to talk to Putin, at in the same press conference.
Is Putin ready to talk? I'm not ready to talk to Putin. I'm prepared to talk to any leader who wants to talk, including if Putin called me and wanted to talk. Is Putin?
Oh wow. Oh wow, man, Biden is just ridiculous there. Biden is just ridiculous there. Bear with me 1 second while I send this. Yep. So okay, that's that. Excuse me. Yeah. So Biden doesn't want to talk to Putin, but at the same time he does. So let's make sense out of that, So yeah. By the way, I'm also live on Rumble and Twitch, and actually, I'm not live on Rumble, my page, because I forgot to do it. So I'm live on the INN Rumble page. So check that out if you prefer to go to Rumble. Let's get rid of that. So there's more down here. I have more, so I don't want to. Is there more Joe Biden gaffes? Because there were so many that I'm not sure if I saved any more. Oh, here's another one. Yes, he is definitely a puppet. So, all right. So this is Joe Biden answering a question about his neurological state.
We've had some discussions over the past few days with your press secretary about the question of health exams, and you said you take a cognitive test every day in this job. Are you open to taking another physical or test before the election? Governor Whitmer of Michigan, for instance, said it wouldn't hurt to take a test.
Well, look, two things. One, I've taken 3 significant and intense neurological exams by a neurologist.
Yeah,
In each case,
a neurologist.
In February, and they say I'm in good shape. Okay, although I do have a little problem with my left foot because it's not as sensitive because I broke my foot and didn't wear the boot. But
randomly talking about his broken
I'm
foot.
Good. I'm tested every single day about my neurological capacity to do decisions I make every day. You talk to my staff, all of you talk to my staff. Sometimes my staff talks a lot.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, I don't think you have them telling you that all the major ideas we've undertaken haven't been in part initiated by me. I remember when the staff and I said, I'm going to go to South Korea, we're going to get the chip. What are you doing? I'm going to get Japan and Korea back together again after essentially having hostilities.
Yeah, so a lot of this already was said. Is this a longer clip? I didn't realize it. So yeah, I mean, he's taken many neurological exams, and he's absolutely swears up and down that he's fine, even though we all know that he isn't. It's super obvious. All right. So we have kind of an interesting civil war here, because I just want to make sure I have no other clips. So here's kind of a minute-long video of Biden going more gaffes. I think I may have played some of these, but this happened within 48 hours. So
guided this alliance through one of the most consequential periods in its history.
And he does mumble a lot.
I realize, I was talking to your wife, I personally asked you to extend your service. Forgive me. And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be Vice
President Trump.
But I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
You referred to Vice President Harris as Vice President Trump. Right now, Donald Trump is using that to mock your age and your memory. How do you combat that criticism from from tonight?
Listen to him.
This concludes tonight's press conference. Thank you, everybody.
Listen to him. Like, I'm not sure what he meant by that, but let's see. Yeah, I got plenty of time. All right, let's get rid of this one. Let's go back. So now it's time to go to our party civil war because this is my favorite. All right, so it's quite hot again today, so bear with me 1 second. This is David Packman. He's going to chime in here. He says President Biden has Parkinson's. He doesn't care. Let's go back to the beginning.
If President Biden has Parkinson's, so what? It makes no difference to me.
Yes.
It would do nothing to dissuade me from voting for him. The progression of Parkinson's disease and these related Parkinsonian disorders, they really vary, but they are typically slow to progress. In the early stages, the first 3 years, you're talking about stiffness and sometimes mild tremors. Minimal impact on daily activities. Almost everyone in the first 3 years can perform whatever tasks they were previously performing. You then get into the middle years, 3 to 7 years, where symptoms get worse. It can take 15 years to get what would be called late stage Parkinson's. So would it be a big story if the White House were hiding that Joe Biden has Parkinson's? It would. It would. Does it have any bearing on how I would vote in November? Absolutely none.
Nope.
If President
So he doesn't care. He's openly admitting that, yeah, I don't care if Joe Biden has Parkinson's because, quite frankly, he'll still vote for him no matter what. It's really just ridiculous. All right, so we have more tweets. I don't know why I did that. Yep, it's elder abuse. That's all this is. All right, so Harry Sisson says there are a lot of people who owe the president an apology right now because he's just claiming that Biden did well when he obviously didn't. Here's more from his hack.
President Biden just gave an hour-long press conference with no notes, no teleprompter, no knowledge of the questions beforehand, and he executed it perfectly.
Keyword, see? No teleprompter. Let's see. So what is that circle there? That's clearly a teleprompter. Those are teleprompters. So I don't know what made him think that he can get away with that. Just more nonsense. It's just ridiculous. He's lying about teleprompters for some reason. All right. This is more. It's like a civil war, I just want all young millennials and Gen Zers to know that Biden at the NATO presser right now is 1,000 times more competent and pro-actual democracy than George W. Bush ever was. So, more crap. He's more pro-democracy than Bush was. She didn't even bring up Trump. She just brought up Bush. Yeah, very delusional. They're all these people are delusional. SE Cup says, I'm sorry, but this was not a president in command. This is a man whose sentences trailed off, who mixed up names, who admitted needing to pace himself, who complained that his staff overscheduled him, who rambled, who at times sounded like Uncle Rico delivering his glory days, and who is in deep denial about his ability to do 4 more years or beat Trump. The stakes were simply too high. So we have more honesty. ST Cup, she's a former Republican, but yep, she's right there. We have another hack. Can we get back together now, please? Which is referring to the Democrats who keep claiming that Joe Biden is the right candidate. So let's get rid of her. More nonsense. These Democrats are very delusional. This was the most critical night of Biden's presidency, and he stepped up and delivered. Stepped up to the plate and delivered. So yeah, more nonsense. Obviously, he didn't stand up and deliver, but whatever. You know, I mean, you wanna keep trying to convince people that he did, then more. There was so much crap, so much propaganda. So far, this has been incredibly solid presser. The president sounds confident and in command. You can sense a disappointment over that in some quarters. So yes, the president is allegedly in command when he clearly isn't. I mean, just hackery, absolute hackery. It's just unbelievable. More. This is from Brett, whatever, co-founded Midas Touch with my brother. This is another partisan Democrat. Yes, Biden gaffed at the top, but this is a very strong presser with very good answers. Hopefully the media can focus on the substance and not on their feeding frenzy. He is making great contrast against Trump, especially on foreign policy. Honestly, you should do this twice a week. Just very delusional. You know, they're just absolutely delusional. So now we have Democrats we have an anonymous Democrat here saying Dem source on Biden performance at the press conference. Biden has said he would not pardon Hunter or commute his sentence. Worst possible outcome unless you're a Hunter and need a pardon because it prolongs him stepping down. Yep. So yeah. So this is now an anonymous Democrat. You know, they won't put their names on the record because if they do, then they definitely won't put their names on the record for obvious reasons because they're afraid of, betraying the party and the president, being caught doing that. So let's see. Now we're going to go to David Axelrod because he also chimed in. If what he said at the end of his presser is true, it sounds like Biden team has not been very candid with him about what the data is showing. The age is a huge and potentially insurmountable concern, and his odds of victory are very, very slim. So that was David Axelrod. Again, he's right. I mean, Biden has very little chance of actually winning this election. But, don't tell him that because it's going to be very interesting. All right, so let's go to more tweets. All right, so this is some sort of CEO. He joined Fox Business in 2010 as a senior correspondent. He's a New York Post columnist and author of the upcoming book Go Woke, Go Broke. Who cares? But I just wanted to see who he was. An alternative view from a CEO who knows Joe Biden well and says no fucking way he's dropping out. Here's his take. Joe Biden couldn't care less what the elite in his party think, which is a new talking point. Joe Biden's now claiming the elite in his party is trying to take him out. So what the elite fundraisers or anyone else thinks, he really hates them. He'll take their money, but he knows they look down on him as some rube. Plus, he thinks he's earned the presidency after trying so many times. There's no way he's giving up to go down in history as a loser who dropped out because he isn't tough enough. He only cares about his wife and family, and he will tell everybody else to fuck off, which will cause him to lose the election. He doesn't. So, quite frankly, I don't care, but that's definitely on him. So, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It helps a lot. Thank you for, the support. So we have more here. We have a bunch more. I'm not done by a long shot. Biden knows his shit. Yep. That's my president. Yep. Please stop making us watch Biden humiliate himself. I really can't. This is from Meghan McCain. I really can't take it anymore. I feel so sick and sad and awful about all this. I don't, because I'm laughing my ass off. It is absolutely heartbreaking. Something is obviously wrong with him. I truly don't understand what his family is thinking. Biden closing. Listen to Trump, mocking Trump's ignorance, incompetence, and sheer madness. This is from Alexander Vidman. He's the one who leaked the Ukraine thing, which led to the first impeachment. Now he's running for Congress, I think. No, I'm pretty sure he is, or at least I think he was. So let's go to this poll. Obviously, excuse me. Obviously, Democrats are, trying to push Harris, or at least some Democrats. According to this most recent polling, excuse me, she's up by 3 points. She's up by 3 points within the margin of error in most polling. So yeah, that's not really that impressive. President Joe Biden lasted an entire hour from his highly anticipated big boy press conference. I can't believe anybody would call a press conference a big boy press conference. The president refused to step down as he slurred his way through a press conference. However, he did exceed expectations. My takeaways: Biden did better than expected. I don't agree with that, which is good news for Republicans. Biden truly feels that he's done a phenomenal job as president, meaning forcing him to step down will be difficult. Democrats will even be more divided after this press conference, which they are. He didn't do great, but he didn't do badly enough for Democrats to come to a clear consensus. We'll see what happens next. He didn't do as well as people say that he did. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm yawning, but yeah, I mean, he did not do well at all. I mean, I think he's a Republican, which is why he's claiming that he did. So, yeah. So let's see. If you haven't already, please give me a like. If you haven't already, greatly appreciate it. All right, so we get Rachel Maddow now because, let's see. So she says it makes me worried that the president has been giving information about his political standing that may not be based in reality.
I think that what Nicole points out about the reality about polling numbers for incumbent presidents and the real history of that versus what President Biden said, which was not actually factually accurate as far as I can tell, that's worrying because it makes me worry that the president is being given information about his political standing that may not be based in reality, that may be sunnier than is real. I think that
so Rachel Maddow is worried, very worried, about Joe Biden not getting a why am I keep repeating myself? Not getting a basis and getting analysis that is based in reality. Sorry about that. Sound like Joe Biden there for a second. Now let's get Donna Brazil here. She says Biden has overcome so much, being bullied for the stuttering to losing half his family in a car wreck to the loss of his son fighting for an addiction. He's a man of grace and empathy. I believe Mr. Biden must stand in his power. Believe that God isn't finished with him. So now let's look at this guy. Joe Biden, since the dawn of time, has been a gaffe machine, and none of it has been malicious or intended, except for when he ran for president the first time. He was caught plagiarizing people and lying about it, and plagiarizing speeches and papers when he was in college. So yeah, instead of that, none of it was malicious or intended. Some folks need to get in touch a little grass, soak a little sun, get a little happy hour drink or something today, and take a breath. So yeah, we have more Democrats, trying to no need that based on crap. So let's see. So let's get to Simone Sanders here. She says everyone who's complaining about Biden is going on too long and is unserious. This man is fighting for his political life. Anything less than a lengthy substance impressor wouldn't have been acceptable. So let's get Brian Grimm. Biden to his delegates. They're free to do whatever they want. Asked if that means they're free to vote for a different candidate, Biden says yes. So he's freed up all his delegates for some reason. So I don't know what that means, but let's see. VP, this is for Kamala Harris to VP. So VP Harris is on fire. She is vetted, tested, and has been Democrats' strongest messenger throughout this campaign. She's next up, and if we need her, we might. Let's be very clear. If and when President Biden passes the torch, I'm all in for Kamala Harris. So let's see what she has to say. Understand, as Trump bowed down to dictators, he makes America weak, and that's disqualifying someone who's be commander-in-chief of the United States. So yeah, Joe Biden is, Trump is bowing down to dictators, even though every president does that, and they suck up to Saudi Arabia, they suck up to a lot and work with a lot of dictators. So that language as Trump is just absurd.
We simply know we cannot count on Donald Trump to help keep America and Americans safe, not here at home and not on the world stage. And yes, I am also talking then about national security. This week, our president, Joe Biden, is hosting more than 30 global leaders in Washington, D.C. for the NATO summit. Now, NATO is the greatest military alliance the world has ever known. And thanks to our president, Joe Biden, if there is one single person who deserves credit in the world for strengthening NATO, making it stronger, making it more united and
we shouldn't
more...
be strengthening NATO. Not at all. We should not. We should be getting out of NATO. But of course, the Democrats will always say strengthen NATO because they are imperialists ultimately. So Republicans, don't get me wrong, but especially Democrats.
Effective. That is Joe Biden. That is Joe Biden. And having made it more effective, then together with our allies around the globe, we are standing up to the dictator Putin.
Oh yeah, dictator. Yeah.
All to ensure America is strong and Americans are safe. On the other hand, do watch, because it's not new. On the other hand, watch as Donald Trump has embraced Putin. Watch that. It's not just happening today, it's been happening. As Trump, threatened to abandon NATO. And
as he should, but he won't.
Putin to invade our allies. He even said Russia can, and I'm going to quote him now, and forgive the use of the word, but he said, quote, Russia can, quote, do whatever the hell they want. And he wants to be the president of the United States? And understand, as Trump bows down to dictators, he makes America weak.
And all presidents do that.
Is disqualifying for someone who wants to be commander-in-chief of the United States of America.
Hey, Steve, thank you for
joining
is disqualifying. Yeah, so Kamala Harris claims that Trump is bound down to dictators, even though most U.S. presidents do that in order to get cheap oil and all that other stuff. So let's do this for now. Yeah, I mean, Kamala Harris is full of crap, as usual. Let's see. That's for tomorrow. All this is for tomorrow. Make sure you check out Pro Wrestling Talk tomorrow at 8. If Our first hour is going to be on YouTube, and our second hour is going to be exclusive to Rumble. So check both hours out. Thank you. So now let's get to this one. Yeah, Zelensky is, definitely a dictator. Rep. Adam Smith says the quiet part out loud on how the elites and Democratic establishment didn't want Bernie Sanders in 2020 and picked Joe Biden. So they finally admit the truth. Let's check this out.
I got to make one other point.
Yeah.
So the president talked today about how now it's all the elites who are trying to force him out.
Right.
Let's remember what happened in 2020. Okay, the president did not run a great primary campaign. He lost badly in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada. He came out of Nevada, and Bernie Sanders looked like the presumptive nominee. And this exact same group of people,
The elites.
that the president is now deriding as elites. And by the way, they're not. They're Democrats, okay? They're party operatives, they're donors, they're volunteers, decided, and to all the Bernie supporters out there, I'm not judging this positively or negatively, they decided they didn't want Bernie Sanders to be the nominee. They decided that Joe Biden would be the better nominee. And credit, again, to the president. He decided that because he did 8 years as vice president. He did the years in the Senate. He had the record to be a strong president. And so they, through their support behind Joe Biden, and Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth Warren and Mike Bloomberg and Amy Klobuchar, and I may be forgetting a few others, stepped aside for the candidate who was better. This myth that somehow Joe Biden came in and rescued us, it has been a nationwide movement since Donald Trump was elected president. And in 2020, that nationwide movement said, Joe, you're the best guy, let's go. Right now, they don't think he is.
Yep, so they're ready for him to step down. They've had enough of Joe Biden. The elites have enough of him. All of this is for tomorrow. So problem is, there's really no way to organize this stuff. Yep. This is all from last week. So I guess I'm done with, I thought I saved a lot more though. I could have sworn that I saved more. Unfortunately, I guess I didn't. Because, no, I didn't. That's all right. What we're going to do now is talk about Project 2025. It's just a policy paper. But of course, Democrats have to act like that it's some kind of the end of the world. So let's get to this one now. They are all the elites. And Biden's acting like he's not part of the elite when he claims that the elites are trying to take me out. In newly leaked audio, Kevin Roberts, the leader of Project 2025, says he knows Donald Trump is lying about not knowing about Project 2025 in order to fool Americans into voting for him. Retweet to make sure every American hears this.
So when you see President Trump say this and what you envision as being behind it tactically?
Well, I think it's the sign of a great leader who understands he's in a terrific political news cycle. He's run a really good campaign from start up to this point. And the left's mischaracterization of Project 2025 had become a liability. I think we've seen that really turn around in the last few days since that statement. So no hard feelings from any of us at Project 2025 about the statement, because we understand Trump is the standard bearer and he's making a political, tactical decision.
Yep, so apparently, they claim that Trump is lying about knowing about Project 2025, but Trump talks out of both sides of his mouth. At other points, he says that he knows about it. But most of the time, he does say he doesn't support Project 2025. So, yeah, but Democrats still need to melt down about it because that's all they have. They don't have anything else. So let's get to more meltdowns. This is Jamie Raskin.
Make that they are an anti-democracy party at this point. The reason that they make that seemingly clever but stupid distinction between Republican democracy is because they are anti-democratic. And we know that from all the voter suppression mechanisms. We know that from their enthusiastic support for gerrymandering. We know that because of what happened on January 6th and the fact that they're willing to use violence and subterfuge to try to overthrow.
Hey, D. I'm glad to see you. I've been meaning to reach out to you and see how you're doing. So looking forward to see you back soon, because we miss you over in Pro Wrestling Talk, and we're gonna have a great show tomorrow night. But I'm not sure you can make it tomorrow night. But looking forward to seeing you, hearing from you again. Project 2025 is a conservative policy paper that basically puts out all the list of all of their policy hopes for Trump's second term, and it's just a policy paper that think tanks put out all the time. Hell, liberal think tanks put out policy papers just hoping to have the president do one or two of those policies. So in a stunning leak, Donald Trump gave his keynote address at the Heritage Foundation, where he announced the work of the foundation, Project 2025, be crucial to his policy goals. Yeah, so we know Trump's a liar, and he talks out of both sides of his mouth. So let's check this out.
Our country is going to hell. The critical job of institutions such as Heritage is to lay the groundwork, and Heritage does such an incredible job at that. This is a great group, and they're going to lay the groundwork and detail plans for exactly what our movement will do and what your movement will do when the American people give us a colossal mandate to save America, and that's coming. That's coming.
Yep. So Trump is, there claiming that he knows about Project 2025 and that he's going to do everything he can to institute it. And then on the other side of his mouth, he says he doesn't support it. So we don't know. I don't think Trump knows his position on Project 2025. But Democrats melting down over a policy paper is just ridiculous. So since some people are asking, or Miss Pucci Perfect is asking, what is Project 2025? We have video here. Let's see. Brian Cohen Taylor, another hack, Democratic hack, melting down over this. So this is apparently the most watched video on MSNBC. So, oops. Here we go.
Have been bad, but there is a silver lining, one that Donald Trump is desperately trying to get under control, and that is that the more people who know about his agenda for a second term, called Project 2025, the worse things get for him. Now, so as not to bury the lead, in case you don't know what Project 2025 is, here's a small sampling. The playbook calls for nullifying anti-climate change efforts while supercharging its deadly effects, abolishing the Department of Education, and dramatically cutting back on free school meals and the Head Start program, cutting earned benefits like Medicaid, expanding the deportation powers of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, banning pornography and imposing criminal penalties for those who produce it, strictly limiting abortion and rolling back pro-choice policies, blocking federal health care providers from offering gender-affirming care to trans people.
So this is some of the Project 2025. Nullifying anti-climate change efforts. Who cares? Abolishing the education department and cutting school programs. I think the state should be handling education, but yeah, I don't care about that much either. Cutting benefits like Medicaid. Okay, they never were able to do that because Democrats, don't allow it when Republicans are in office. Usually they melt down and yell and scream about it and nothing happens. Expanding deportation. All right. Banning pornography. That's never going to happen. Pornography is a multi-billion-dollar business, so that's not going anywhere. Strictly limiting abortion. Blocking gender-affirming care to trans people, and consolidating presidential power. So that's already happened. So, yeah.
People and consolidating presidential power significantly. It would fundamentally alter our system of government, and if Trump gets his way, usher in the effective end of our democracy as it currently stands. The dangers of Project 2025 are so apparent that Trump himself has attempted to distance himself from it. He posted on Truth Social, "I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who's behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them." Well, that sounds familiar.
I don't know Papadopoulos. I don't know him. I saw him sitting in one picture at a table with me. That's the only thing I know about him. I never met this woman. I never saw this woman. I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you.
I know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact.
I don't know him very well. I have not spoken to him much. This is not a man I know well. Seems like a nice guy, though.
Donald Trump's age-old or hardly knew him defense. When things get icky, sticky, Trump's suddenly a stranger to whoever it is in the crosshairs.
He's
He's
so
barely
annoying.
met the person. He doesn't know anything about them. Never heard of them. That same defense popped up again over the weekend. This time it wasn't a person who'd once worked for him, but to an entire radical agenda laid out by Trump's closest allies, which includes eliminating the Department of Education, criminalizing abortion medicine, and installing an army of loyalists to replace those serving in federal agencies. We've covered it on this program before. We're talking, of course, about Project 2025. It is a 900-page blueprint for the next Republican administration, an extremely detailed, full-scale
It's very
reimagining
detailed.
of something Steve Bannon said at the beginning of the first Trump term, right? The annihilation of the administrative state. It's Trump's plan for how the federal government would operate if he continues to listen to these allies. Project 2025 was created by the conservative group, the Heritage Foundation.
Oh,
Its
yeah, it is
president,
beer
Kevin
porn.
Roberts,
Yeah,
made
it
this
just-
shocking comment last week. Watch.
We are going to win. We're in the process of taking this country back. We are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Ooh, very scary. Very scary, guys. You know, the left allows us to be bloody. So that's Project 2025. It's just a policy paper. I don't see what's the big deal about it. All right, what's this? Trump back in the White House, let's see, would destroy our military and turn them into a force to be used against the people who don't comply with its desire to rule over us. There's really no evidence for that, but, you know, whatever. If you Google Project 2025, it states that every American male over the age of 30 will be entitled to an A10 warthog. What? I hope this is some kind of, you know, satire, because that's ridiculous. Here's Project 2025 laid out in less words in a 900-page document, easier for everybody to find, read, and understand. So, yeah, there's been kind of already explained it. All right. Under the tax plan proposed in Project 2025, it is estimated that a family of four making $100,000 a year would get a $2,600 tax hike. But a family of four making $5 million a year would get a $325,000 tax cut. It's trickle-down nightmare. Yeah, it's just a policy paper, so I'm not going to make such a big deal out of that. Oh, wow. Project 2025 wants to bring back cigarette vending machines in the entrances of Denny's. I remember these old cigarette vending machines. I haven't seen one in like 25 years, but yeah, I'm that old. I remember these cigarette vending machines. That's pretty funny. So who's old enough to remember these? Jesus. That's anyway, that's hopefully that's satire too, because that's not really true. Or unless it's literally there. Oh yeah, bring back fucking cigarette vending machines. Donald Trump's Project 2025. Corporations, multi-billionaires, and billionaires get tax breaks. Yes, that's always the case for Republicans. The rest of us gets tax hikes. Him and his donors pay less. Our families pay more. Blah, blah, blah. This is the same talking points from before. Raise taxes on middle class income of lower middle class income families. I'm sorry. Raise taxes on middle and lower income class families. Okay. So I already read that. Lower taxes on millionaires and billionaires. An average family of four, income of $5 million. Okay. Reducing the capital gains tax from 20% to 15%. Lower taxes on corporations from 21% to 18%. The corporate tax rate, 39%, 2015. A national sales tax. A national sales tax would raise the prices of things we need while disproportionately impacting the working class families. Yeah, New Jersey already has a sales tax at 6.625%, I believe it is, which is insanely high. In fact, I think a few years ago it was 7%. So it went down a little bit, but it's still We have a state national sales tax, or a state sales tax, excuse me, and now they're proposing a national sales tax. Like, yeah, who cares? You know what I mean? That's not gonna happen anyway. So I already showed you guys that video. Yeah, Elizabeth Warren with the same talking points. They all have the same talking points. What is this?
2025.
We have
What
a
is-
Project 2025 explained by Yale law grad. So she's an authority on Project 2025, apparently, because she went to Yale.
Is it? Who wrote it? Where did it come from? The entire far-right blueprint is 920 pages and 30 chapters. You're not going to read all that. I don't expect you to. And if you haven't even heard of Project 2025, that's okay too. But you do need to know what's in it because it's pretty terrifying. Think a playbook for Handmaid's Tale, essentially turning the US into Gilead. I've looked for some good, easy explanations of Project 2025, and there really aren't that many. This is going to be the most comprehensive and simple explanation of 2025 that you're going to get. So background, Project 2025 dates back to 1973. That's when the Heritage Foundation, a very powerful conservative think tank based in Washington, D.C., was founded. They are the writers and the architects of Project 2025. And their main mission and goal is to move America to a more far-right Christian nationalist state. They originally came to prominence when they wrote their first manifesto in 1981 titled A Mandate for Leadership. And get this, those very same policies were the ones that were used and implemented in the Reagan administration. Seriously, around 60% of the 2,000 proposals written in the manifesto were implemented by Reagan. So now they're back again with a new edition, and this new edition is known as Project 2025. And it's supposed to provide guidance for the Don or whoever becomes the next Republican president.
The Don.
And these 900 pages
Ridiculous.
and 30 chapters were written by professors, doctors, scientists, lawyers, scholars on each subject. And they've divided Project 2025 into 4 main pillars. The first is policy, which is this big book. The second is personnel. They're creating this huge conservative database, think LinkedIn, but for DJT loyalists. The third pillar is training. They set up this online educational system called the Presidential Administration Academy, where they teach their views and ideology in a course. And the fourth
Yeah,
is
it's all
called
fear
Playbook,
mongering. Absolutely
which
right.
is an
It's
action
all
game
fear
design for
mongering.
how they're
It's
going to get
insane.
everything done. Now let's get into some of the very concerning things on their wish list for DJT's second term. Starting off strong on pages 450 to 503, they're calling for a complete ban on abortions. Not very shocking. Page 319, they're saying the Department of Education should be eliminated. And in addition to calling for its elimination, they state that any school that requires a vaccine or mask mandate will not receive federal funding. Page 482, eliminate the Head Start program. Page 675, calling for the elimination of NOAA and the National Weather Service. Because these organizations, and I quote, have become one of the main drivers of climate change alarm industry and as such is harmful to the future U.S. prosperity. Page 133, they call for the complete dismantling of the Department of Homeland Security. In addition, they argue for the elimination of the FBI along with the Department of Justice. Page 5,
I would be fine getting rid of the FBI. So that's who
call for a
cares.
complete ban on corn, writing that corn should be outlawed, the people who produce and distribute it should be imprisoned, and anyone else who participates or facilitates it should be registered. Page 104, reverse policies that allow transgender individuals to serve in the military. Gender dysmorphia is incompatible with the demands of the military service and the use of public monies for
Nah. Yeah, you get the point. You know, it's horrible. I mean, I can barely hear her anyway. So, all right, let's look. Another 4 years of Donald Trump is deadly serious. Project 2025 is deadly serious. Said that twice. Look it up here. Y'all need to tweet the fuck out of this. The hack of the Heritage Foundation is blowing up as usual. Legacy media slow to report it. China, Russia, and Trump and the Republican Party are in cahoots of Project 2025, the Nazification of America. Yeah, so Project 2025 is horrible. And this is more crap. CNN is now reporting over 140 Project 2025 workers were at one point employed by the Trump White House or campaign. The cat's out of the bag. Donald Trump presidency would mean the implementation of Project 2025 and the end of our democracy as we know it. Just fear-mongering, more fear-mongering. Yep, so... That's... Yeah, so... there are poor people that she has a rich bitch will never have to serve. Yep. Yeah, Project 2030. Project 2020 or Project 2030 where I mean that's something I need to look into more and discuss probably next week, because right now I know something about it, but a lot of it is, kind of foreign to me. Or not foreign, but but I don't know much about it. So yeah, let's see what else. Because I'm just been a long day for me. Oh man, it's not a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. And people are acting like this is like the end of the fucking world. Where is it? Ah, here we go. Bring trust. So yeah, a lot of Democrats are planning to remove Joe Biden. And there's other people trying to protect them. So we have a party civil war on our hands, and quite frankly, it's just ridiculous. We all know Joe Biden's going to lose, and Democrats probably going to lose this time around, because there's absolutely no way that Joe Biden can win this election. What? This is ridiculous. Global democracy hanging in the balance. So MSNBC is going to claim that global democracy is in the line this election. Not just our democracy, but all democracies are on the line in this election cycle.
There's nobody that's better, smarter, or a better leader than Viktor Orban. He's fantastic. As you know, the Prime Minister of Hungary, and does a great job. He's a non-controversial figure because he said this is the way it's going to be, and that's the end of it, right? He's the boss.
4 months ago, that is how Donald Trump introduced a crowd of supporters gathered at Mar-a-Lago to his guest of honor, the authoritarian leader of Hungary, Viktor Orban. Now, tonight, the two men met again at Mar-a-Lago just 1 week after Orban met with another close friend of his, Russian President Vladimir Putin. In a post on social media this evening, Orban said of his meeting with Trump, negotiations with President Trump about peace. Good news of the day, he will solve it. Back with me now are Ben Rhodes, Tommy Vitor, and McKay Coppins. Tommy, good news. Viktor Orban and Donald Trump have worked out world peace. Your reaction?
It's wonderful to hear. I mean, you really have to wonder about someone who chooses to spend their time with someone like Viktor Orban. I can't imagine he's a good hang, but Donald Trump, when offered the opportunity to do anything in the world, he finds a way to find himself with the most authoritarian leaders he can find around the world. He talks about how much he envies them and their ability to crush dissent and make decisions and subvert democracy. So wonderful. I'm glad they figured it all out.
Sure.
Ben, I mean, we're talking about this study in contrast, right? There's Biden with NATO, Zelensky, and then literally a split screen moment for the global community with Orban and Trump meeting at Mar-a-Lago. This is fresh off of Orban's meeting with Putin. NBC reports that a source familiar with the Trump-Orban meeting assured that any of Orban effectively being a back channel to Putin is nonsensical. Do you think it's nonsensical?
I don't think it's nonsensical at all, Alex. And look, first of all, it's not as straightforward, right? Because it's not just Orban who went to see Putin recently. Putin has seen Xi Jinping. He's seen Kim Jong-un. He hosted Narendra Modi on the eve of the summit. I think he's been trying to demonstrate, hey, look, I've got a team as well. And we want to totally overturn the order that is represented by NATO itself. These are the stakes that are happening. And, Orban is something of a model for Trump, right? He did his Project 2025 after he was elected prime minister and kind of transitioning a democracy in an authoritarian, essentially single-party system. Now, the reason I don't think it's fanciful is, first of all, he was just in Moscow. He was just seeing Putin, right, just days ago. And now what is he telling us? That there's good news, there's a peace plan. I mean, Orban is telling us, literally, in that social media post, I talked to Trump about what I talked to Putin about. So he may not be some kind of formal, on the payroll operative going back and forth doing shuttle diplomacy, but I would be shocked if Orban wasn't sharing some kind of message from Putin or some kind of indication of his conversation with Putin. You really think that Viktor Orban sat with Vladimir Putin for hours in Moscow and then sat with Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago and didn't mention anything that he talked to Putin about? Didn't pass anything on that came out of that meeting? Again, his Instagram post alone suggested they talked about Ukraine because he said to talk about a peace plan. So to me, it highlights the stakes here between the bloc of countries and the bloc of strongmen, really, that Trump wants to be a part of, versus whether or not NATO can hold together with
this is just nonsense on MSNBC. They're fear mongering about Donald Trump's relationship with Viktor Orban, and project global democracy is on the line. Boo! Just be scared. Be fucking scared of this guy. So now let's get to this. This is more important. It's about NATO. Here's once I get the commercials, So yeah, this is MSNBC again. This is Jan Stoltenberg, the head of NATO. So let's check this out. He says Russia has no right whatsoever to react against NATO for support of Ukraine. But NATO has the right to surround Russia's border with weapons. They have the right to, to try to saber rattle with Russia. They have every right to do whatever the hell they want. But the Russians don't have the right to respond, basically.
This week's NATO summit was supposed to be President Biden's celebration on the world stage. It was overshadowed, though, by his political crisis, as all the talk among world leaders was about whether the president would even be the Democratic candidate by the time of the convention. As NATO's Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg completed a consequential decades-long tenure as leader of the alliance, I talked to him last night about that and about the summit's big achievements. For the first time, calling out China as a decisive enabler of Vladimir Putin's war machine and setting a pathway, an irreversible pathway, for Ukraine's membership in NATO. How can you assure that this will happen for Ukraine, NATO membership, given some of the members, including Hungary and potentially Donald Trump, might not agree?
The language in the statement about irreversible path towards membership is important for Ukraine. But the reality is that more important is what we do, the actions. So action speaks louder than words. And we have taken many important actions, delivering more weapons, more air defense, more ammunition to Ukraine. We are setting up a NATO command for Ukraine, and we are setting up a new training and evaluation center in Poland. These are concrete things which will help Ukraine to prevail as a sovereign, independent nation, and that's the only way for Ukraine to become a member. That's that Putin doesn't win, but Ukraine prevails.
What right does Russia have to move aggressively against this new structure for Ukraine?
So Russia has no right whatsoever to react against.
They have no right to react. Meanwhile, NATO has the right to do whatever the hell they want on Russia's borders.
NATO allies providing support to Ukraine. We are not party to the conflict. We don't have troops in Ukraine. But that we're helping Ukraine
except you're helping Ukraine.
Self-defense. Russia has violated international law. They have attacked another country, Ukraine, and according to international law and basic, ethics standards, you have the right to defend yourself when you are attacked. And Ukraine is attacked, and they are defending themselves, and we are helping them to uphold that right.
What can NATO do to prevent China from continuing
Another
to
more
support Vladimir
fear-mongering
Putin?
on China.
China is a decisive enabler of Russia's illegal war against Ukraine because China is propping up the Russian war economy. They are delivering almost all the microelectronics, the microprocessors, the dual-use equipment, which enables Russia to build the weapons, the missiles, the planes which Russia is using to attack Ukrainians. And we also state in this declaration that this will impact China's interest and reputation.
Is it just words? Do you think member nations should have sanctions against China for the support to Vladimir Putin?
Well, also declarations, words matters because they set an agenda, they define a policy. Then, of course, it's up to allies to implement sanctions and economic measures. But we have now a clear, unified message, and that's a clear message to Beijing, China.
What concerns are you hearing? We're certainly hearing from NATO allies that they are very concerned about Donald Trump's presidency.
Well, NATO is an alliance of 32 democracies, and you don't have guarantees, and we are different. We are from different countries, with different political parties in government. But NATO has proven extremely resilient to political changing winds across the alliance for decades, for 75 years. And I expect that the United States will remain a strong NATO ally also in the future, because it is in the security interest of the United States to have a strong NATO.
You've known President Biden for many years. How would you assess his ability to perform and contribute to the summit?
As I worked with President Biden also when he was vice president, we have had very good meetings now here in Washington. We have made important decisions on deterrence and defense, on Ukraine, on stepping up our support and partnership with the Asia-Pacific partners. But I will not go into a domestic debate, which is now going on in the United States.
How did you feel when you got the Medal of Freedom?
That was a great honor, and I felt very...
It's a great honor to get the Medal of Freedom. Yeah, 100%. Lindsey Graham did say they will fight to the last Ukrainian. Not us. Not us. Hello. Hello, hello. Not us. We won't fight, but they'll fight.
Very, as I felt it very strongly that this was a touching moment, and I was very surprised because I was not aware that this was going to happen. But
they managed to surprise you?
They managed to surprise me. The US is very good at keeping secrets. So that's a moment I will remember for the rest of my life.
Finally, do you have any more appreciation for American baseball after throwing out that first pitch?
Yeah, very much so, because I've never had any relationship to American baseball before. I never touched a baseball before. I actually started to exercise a bit before that first pitch. And
you practiced?
I practiced because I realized that this was different than anything I've done before. So I did some practice. I feel that I still have a very long way to go to really become a baseball player, but it was a great thing to do.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Secretary General.
Thank you so much.
Hey there, MSNBC.
Oh, yeah, that's that. Well, yeah, that's that. Bullshit. This propaganda. This is bullshit and propaganda. There's nothing but propaganda, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I mean, Biden fitting Stoltenberg like a glove there. Oh, come on. Come on. Hold on a second. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, I mean, that's MSNBC for you. And quite frankly, I don't have much else to talk about tonight, so I'm just going to wrap up here before I, just start rambling away for no reason. So that'll do it for this episode of Angel in the Afternoon. Thank you very much for joining me. Please like, please subscribe to the channel. And, tomorrow night is Pro Wrestling Talk with me and Miss Witchy Perfect, who's in the chat. The first hour will be on YouTube and, all our platforms, or all our platforms, right? And the second hour will be on Rumble and Odyssey and Twitch, I guess. I don't know. Or we'll see. Or Rofkin, definitely. But yeah, I mean, Russia has no rights, 100% true. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night for Pro Wrestling Talk. And other than that, I'm going to see you guys next Friday, same time, same place. So have a nice weekend, everybody. And if you happen to like pro wrestling or just want to hang out with us, we'll see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.